Broadcasting live from our homes for fun. This is Tap Tap Concede. Welcome everybody to Tap Tap Concede. My name is Graham. Joining me is Cameron.
Hello.
And Nelson.
I'm also here.
And Happy New Year to you all. So we are now recording this on the 2nd? What is that?
Happy New Year.
What is the actual date? It is the 2nd.
No one
Sunday.
could agree what day it is, but it's definitely a new year.
I had to figure out it was Sunday because I had to go grocery shopping today.
Oh, there you go.
So that was my outing for the week.
Nice. We are all, as you can see if you're watching the video version, broadcasting from our homes because it's the holidays, and also out of an abundance of caution because of the latest in a litany of letters of the Greek alphabet, in this case, Omicron, and it's for the rather impressive numbers it's putting up. Don't love it, but here we are.
Yeah, the numbers here have an asterisk next to them.
Yeah, don't like that either. No. So we're broadcasting from home, at least for this week, and more updates on that to follow. But we're still here. We had a week off for the holidays, and that was nice. And now we're here to A some Qs. James put out the call on Twitter, on the LRRMTG Twitter account, to ask for some questions, and he selected some, and we're going to get to them. But first of all, of course, I'm going to remind you that this show is brought to you by Card Kingdom. Please check out cardkingdom.com/LRR for all of your paper magic needs. They have excellent customer service and very fast shipping, and they will send you cards super quick. And if you ask them nicely and you ask for a little 1-inch button, you say, "Loading ready, run, send me button, please." They will give you a button with a funny thing on it, and currently that funny thing is... I'm just double checking. Oh, right. It's a reprint backed by popular demand. It's You're Brainstorming Wrong.
Ooh, the classic.
Yeah.
Bring in the new year right by brainstorming wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody has ever brainstormed right in the history of magic.
Nope. It's never happened once. And of course, this show and everything we do is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. All right, let's get into it. What is our first question? From the Twitters. With Magic delving into sci-fi and noir genres in 2022, what other genres do you hope we explore with new planes in future sets? From Spinebuster T. It's funny because cyberpunk and Art Deco noir would probably have both been fairly high on my list. And here we are with Kamigawa Neon Dynasty and Streets of New Capenna kind of knocking both of those off the checklist. I'm not sure what else I really want to see.
Is all of Magic already a dystopian sort of grim Mad Max world?
Not really.
Not exactly. Yeah. Cataclysmic events happen regularly, and we meet survivors. The first time we go to the plane of Mirrodin, it's any of those humans basically. And the second time we go to Mirrodin, for sure, any of the kind of people we meet, probably they can hang with any of the Mad Maxes. So there's that, but I like that genre. Sort of, I like post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, that could be good.
One of the books that I really enjoyed reading last year, it came out in 2018, but I only finally was able to put it down last year, was Jeff Vandermeer's Dead Astronauts, which takes place in his kind of Bourne universe, but it's a post-apocalyptic universe, weird fiction though, and the main character is an astronaut who's returned to Earth after being centuries in space, and Earth is just what even happened here, right? There's weird genetically engineered animals everywhere that seem to be all that is left of human civilization, and I don't know, I think that's just interesting, fertile ground for...
I like the...
I would love to come back to an old plane and have it be profoundly transformed in some way, which I guess...
Ravnica 40,000.
Yeah, well, I guess that's kind of like Kamigawa, right? Hey, I guess we're not all trapped in a medieval interpretation of fantasy. But I like that idea of just going back to Dominaria. It's been a few centuries, say, and something really weird has happened. The only humans left have a different have an additional type on their line.
Onslaught Block is actually kind of like that.
Yeah, well, but wasn't Odyssey after a time skip?
Yeah, probably also. We really need to do that lore episode just so I can watch it.
I don't know how you would communicate this mechanically on cards, but the kind of post-apocalypse that shows up in certain anime where I can't remember the name of it. Is it Blame? It's one that Alex Blame. Really likes. Where it's like everything just has a scale that is just unfathomably large.
Right. Well, there's like that one. It's basically played as a gag in Blame, where they get on an elevator.
Yeah.
And then it says, some large number of seconds later, and they get off the elevator. And if you actually run the math, they spend a couple of centuries just traveling on an elevator.
Yeah. That kind of thing where it's like just these absolutely enormous structures that now sort of no longer work. To a lesser extent, something like Red Dwarf, right? Like,
yeah.
The fact that the actual mining ship Red Dwarf is like impractically big, right? Like to the point that it takes like weeks to travel from one end to the other, right? Like that kind of technological scale, but. Again, I don't know how you would possibly translate that onto a magic card, but that's why it's not my job. That sounds like
a really fun space, though, where you could just have vastness as a keyword in some way.
Oh, I like that.
Right, you have things phasing in and out of existence as they travel improbable distances.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun. Yeah.
It's not really a type of media, but like thinking about it, it's like, well, we have Kamigawa coming up, and like there's been several offerings to the weebs, so we've gotten more anime art into magic cards a lot more lately, and I think all that's great. And like the other piece of sort of, I don't know, Asian culture that just sprung to mind is like Aikido or the Art of Peace selection of short stories, and it's like magic at its core is like a fundamentally violent conflict between two people. So if we had like some set come out where it's like, I don't know, maybe it has to be the Care Bear set or the My Little Pony actual set or something, but something where like the game has a mode of cooperation, I think that's cool.
Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting. And that
we haven't explored that much.
Yeah. Also, any conflict is resolved, like at least in flavor, peacefully. Right? Like you have argument or debate or adjudication.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the kids would love it if it was just like a set of alternate win cons, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? The kids would eat it up.
Oh, very nice. All right. Next question. From Short Round. Chaos Draft. What would be your top picks for your 3 different boosters? Can't be from the same plane. Ooh. Oh, interesting.
I gotta go 1 pack of Eldritch Moon. Because that set rules. I love it. I love Emerge and I love Madness. So I'm there for that. And then you would need something to play with that. I've always wanted to do the Emerge thing with instant speed Emerge with evoke creatures.
Oh.
Right? There was that one Flash Octopus that you could emerge theoretically into a Muldrifter. Or onto a Muldrifter. While it's on the stack.
Oh.
Which would just be incomparably spicy. And then something with good discard outlets.
Maybe Alara? Or, maybe just Onslaught.
What was the first set that used Madness?
Torment?
Torment, I think.
Is it Torment?
I think it may have been Torment.
Wheeler is just writhing around in pain and agony, looking at the 3 of us here, not being able to remember this.
I'm looking at it now. Torment, yes.
Let's do that. Okay, we got there, everyone. We got there.
All right. Is it cheating to be like mystery booster?
No.
Well, I
Like-
immediately wanted to go Horizons or Masters. So
Yeah, I mean, I like what I like about the Chaos Draft is the absolute chaos. And the nice thing about Mystery Boosters is that they're already kind of designed to not like they're already designed to sort of work in that space.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't. So you don't run the risk of like a mechanic that only works in the one set kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know. Mystery Booster and a couple of like the powerful ones, like like Horizons, like Nelson was saying.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
Yeah.
hear me out.
Okay.
I'm gonna take this question, answer this question from the Spike perspective. So my first pack is going to include what I believe is basically the most broken limited card ever from Return to Ravnica. It's Pack Rat.
Ugh.
So if I can open up a pack of Return to Ravnica and just hope for that,
Yeah.
Mhm. Could you
And then
pass
the
me
next-
the pack rat so I can use it as a discard outlet?
right, exactly. Maybe you want Return to Ravnica too. So then my second pack is going to go with the number 2 bomb. This one was also nuts and constructed. It's Betrayers of Kamigawa, so I can try to open an Umezawa's Jite. Because that card is also pretty messed up.
Yeah.
And this is hopefully a fun Chaos Draft so far with lots of options. But because I had a gold set to start with, I'd like to finish it off with, I don't know what the third best limited Crazy Bomb is. So I'm just going to open Eventide because there were a lot of really powerful shenanigans. And most of the cards you can play in one color or the other.
Oh, smart, right? Hybrid.
Legit.
Or like a pack of Mirrodin or something like that could also be a good call to just be like, I'll get brown cards.
Wait. I just had a brainwave.
Oh yeah.
Unrelated to this question. What are the odds we're getting a top reprint? 0?
Not high. No, that top
Come on.
actually was a mistake.
Yeah, but what if?
But it exists now. I don't think they'd print
But
it.
we don't
again
want
in-
top on Arena. Like, we don't want to be doing
Oh.
that. No one
Oh.
wants that.
I guess it would.
Magic is a mobile game now.
You don't think they'd do like some sort of like fancy fancy cyber frame
Yeah.
like reprint set of like cool old Kamigawa stuff that we're not printing in standard?
Okay, yeah. No,
Okay.
that's a great
Like
idea.
a secret layer top?
It would still
Yeah,
go on.
Secret Lair top.
Oh, okay. If it's in the secret layer, then it probably wouldn't go on Arena. So then
Yeah.
you'd be safe.
I don't want it in the main set, and I don't think they're going to put it in the main set.
No, I don't think so either. No.
Mhm.
But I could see some sort of reprint for it.
Yeah, Secret Lair top.
Sure.
Of course. Cyberpunk me a Sensei's top.
Yeah. All
I
right.
stopped playing this card in everything.
Just because it's annoying.
I might include it next time if I'm like in another Highlander top 8. If that happens, I might like play a deck that plays top.
That's fair.
I mean, I like to
For
play
regular
top because
tournament play,
it makes me feel like I'm playing Magic the Gathering. Right.
turns out I've just had enough of that feeling already.
Yeah. Fair.
the annoying thing is on Arena especially is that it would ask you you would have priority all the time. It'd be like, do you want to do the thing? No, stop it. You want to do the thing? No, pass. Do you want to do the thing?
And your opponent's going to just concede so many times while you're resolving it.
Well,
Like
okay. Now
While
you're making a case for it.
ability. Right? What I wouldn't mind is if they gave us like a new version of top where you get some amount of library selection, but somehow make it like, I don't know, I guess Sylvan Library's better, something where you can't just activate it whenever you want.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Sensei's Divining Toy.
Sensei's Divining Egg.
Ooh.
Enters the battlefield, draw a card, but you can sack it in response to rearrange the top 3, or you can just sack it in response to, or you can sack it later to rearrange.
I just like the idea of a divining egg. Crack. Oops.
Crack that egg open.
What's inside the egg?
You're hired. I like it. I'll take 4.
That's great. All right, next question.
Be right back and call my mom. Tell her I got a job.
All right, from Durlston P. The LRR team is in total control of Wizards of the Coast for one day. That's an amazing hypothetical start. And can change anything. Decide products to come out in 2023 or more. What would you each choose to do? Oh, Lord, that's so much power.
I would write D&D not mechanically intensive, but lore intensive rule books for Magic
Ooh.
Planes.
Oh.
I actually would just like the Ravnica book was good for like if you want maps and a little mechanical. It provided very little insight into what it is actually like to live on Ravnica.
Right.
And I would just like to write those books. Tell me what it's like to, or I will tell you what it's like to work for the Azorius Senate. What does the Selesnya Conclave do?
Oh, this is good.
This is not a question we've ever had answered. What do you do in the Selesnya Conclave? What do they do for money? My answer is, they don't use it. The tree feeds them. That's it.
Yeah, they don't talk about that. It's funny, actually. Yeah, that I think we've talked about that on the podcast before. That it's like, well, the Azorius, they're sort of in charge of the law, and the Rakdos, they're like the entertainers, and the Selesnya are around.
They're a hippie commune.
Yeah, but it doesn't
straight people.
Yeah,
but
they're a hippie commune with trillions of people.
But like the Golgari, like handle rot and like in a practical sense, they like manage the sewers, but they also like handle like the death and everything, and the Simic are like scientists. They do experimentation and stuff, and the Selesnya abide, right? Like the Selesnya are there. That's funny.
Yeah, they're a scary cult.
Yeah,
I figured it out. Yeah, did you guys see Wild Wild Country?
No.
I forget all of the appropriate names, but basically there was this big cult that gathered together in Oregon, and I mean I say cult, but a following. It's like, what's the difference between a cult and a major religion? It's just our view. But anyways, it's like gathering together people, giving them all a purpose, having a community for all of them, giving them all jobs to do, and then inevitably somebody near the top gets too powered, money hungry, and then the whole thing falls apart like House of Cards.
Mm-hmm.
So why that hasn't happened to the Selesnya yet?
Well, it's because
it's
the
just
tree
the
is in
chapter,
charge.
Just the chapter that LRR needs to write.
Yeah.
Well, of course we're going to release another Ravnica set. Of course, it's the time-honored tradition of every Wizards team.
Right. Gosh, what? I don't know. Conspiracy 3.
That would be good.
Just really want more conspiracy. I don't know. That's a broad ranging question, right? Like I got some changes I would want to make to Arena that we've talked about on the podcast recently, but like is that the sort of thing you can just decree to make happen in a day that someone else won't undo the next day?
It says we can change anything in the question.
All right, well then sure, I guess that.
Fix the Arena economy and watch them try to roll it back.
Oh, that's true. That would upset some people. Yeah.
Dare you to roll this one back.
I would put the expansion symbols onto the exterior of the booster box displays. So, like you want to know which card you're trying to get. It's like there's a little picture in the the corner of your card between the art and the text box, and that's going to be on the display box. This is just a very simple branding change. Doesn't really cost anything. And then I would hire some people from probably Riot Games to show us how to do OP. Somehow Riot manages to have gigantic, regular, annual, semi-annual celebrations of massive tournaments at the top level of play. And then it's successful. People watch it, and I don't think they have sponsorships outside of Riot to pay for this. So they've just managed to monetize their game, monetize their viewers, monetize the experience such that there's a big organized play program.
Yeah.
And it's not the organized play program we had in Magic 10 years ago, but it's still it has been a success. So I don't know. I want for some version, some goal of the Magic organized play to be successful, whether it's bringing a bunch of people together to do Magic Fests that are worth competing over for the weekend, or whether it's having kind of like a Pro Tour scene or a regular World Championships that meets their whatever goals that they set out.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I would change it so that we succeed in the things that people have already tried so hard to do, not trying to belittle all of the hard work of all the organized play people over the years.
Purely for the absolute chaos of it, I would find some old unplayable rare that is just irrelevant, that nobody cares about, that's completely unassuming, and add it to the reserve list.
I knew that's what you were going to say.
Yeah. And refuse to elaborate. Just be like, what? Just to be like, oh, I've decided what Magic Twitter is going to be talking about for the next week. Here we go.
Congratulations, Blink Moth and Fusion. For no reason, you are now on the reserve list.
Just something. Just here you go. Yeah, I don't know. I have. It's like like we tend to be fairly measured on this show, but like in many things, it's a lot easier to look at what Wizards is doing and going, well, here's how I would have done that, rather than going, okay, starting from scratch, here's my plan.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, we give Wizards a lot of stick here, and then we say things on this podcast that would make them 1,000 times worse. Why haven't they tried this? Well, for these clear reasons.
Yeah, like to be totally clear, obviously the answer to the question is we would ruin Magic way more than it's been ruined before.
Yeah,
right?
I would reprint Top
Clearly.
In a standard set. Why are you asking me these questions?
All right, moving on.
I don't see the problem.
Mrs. Dr. Maestro asks, if you could have R&D redo one old set with modern design philosophy, but keep the world flavor and mechanics, which would you pick?
Fallen Empires.
Fascinating question. Ooh.
Fallen Empires.
Yeah, Cam's already working on it.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah.
Just keep it at the power level of Order of Lightbur and Order of the Ebon Hand. Give me Icatian Javelineers. Him to Turak can be a mythic. Sure, whatever. Actually, no, it's doesn't work at a mythic. Probably a rare, though.
Yeah,
just get blown out with it at occasionally get blown out with it in limited.
Yeah.
I would go with Arabian Nights, same sort of thing. Find out what Naf's Asp looks like, and whether or not Sandstorm is any good, and if we can redesign deserts so that people really want to play with them. I know we just did this in Amonkhet, kind of like Amonkhet is sort of the answer here. Like there's some connection, but yeah, really let me play with some Guardian Beasts and Jism Djinns that make sense in draft. That would be fantastic.
Like power level of like Serendibifreet? Or
yeah, I mean, honestly, there's a bunch of cards from Arabians that wouldn't even need to be changed and just put at the right rarity, but it's like getting the commons and the commons to make sense so that you have a draft environment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think original Kamigawa, because there's a lot of really interesting stuff there. And I know that they're about to make a new Kamigawa set, but it's very different flavor wise. And I like the sort of traditional Japanese sort of tales of like the kami and the demons and things, but and there's some interesting ideas in there mechanically as well, but there's also some real crap. Like what was that one? Sweep? Is that the mechanic?
Yeah. Hey, actually, Graham, I want to ask you a question here.
Yeah.
Have you drafted Kamigawa?
No, I have never drafted original Kamigawa. I understand it was okay.
I think it was actually quite good.
All right.
Both triple Kamigawa and full block Kamigawa. I had to take the middle. I didn't play much Betrayers Limited because of school, but I played the bookends. And we look at Kamigawa in the past now, and it's like a lot of jank. Like there's a lot of cards that you're not interested in playing in Commander.
Because it did really well in draft.
Yeah, so the set before was super overpowered. They gave us Chrome Mox, Sword of Fire and Ice, the whole affinity mechanic.
Right.
And then this next set was like, whoa, these cards are not as good as the cards we were just playing with 3 months ago. And it's very obvious. But the limited environment was actually pretty sweet.
Okay.
And then the constructed, it was like there was this one card from Betrayers you had to have in every deck just about, and a couple other things that enabled you to play some niche strategies. But mostly it was like the standard of the year of Kamigawa was mostly about the Mirrodin cards.
Okay,
but it gave us a cool limited format.
I mean, maybe then Mirrodin is the answer, right?
I just think we should try to get you into a Kamigawa draft at some point.
Yeah, if the cards exist, then I'm down. Do they ever come back as a flashback draft on Mitgo? Probably not. I don't know.
They must come back at least every other year or something. We got to keep our eyes peeled for that.
Yeah. All right. Next up from that is the same question. Sorry. Next question from Dayton Hammond. If you have taken a break from MTG, what brought you back?
Friends.
Yeah. I mean, I only took. We've told this story many times. I only really took the one break, and it wasn't, which was I picked up some cards around like when Ice Age was out, and I wouldn't call what I did with Magic in those days playing Magic. because I just sort of like, it was cool. People played Magic. I got the cards. The cards were cool. I didn't really fully understand the rules. I got one of the starter sets. It's like a 60 card box with all 5 colors. And I was like, well, this is a deck of Magic. Okay. Right. Like, I wouldn't necessarily call that playing the game, but did that for like a little while. And then was like, all right, I'm off it because everybody's off it. And obviously this game is, this is a dead game that nobody plays. And then turns out that was not the case, and then picked it up again. Thanks to the little starter decks in the swag bags at PAX. And then the rest is history. But yeah, that's the only sort of like break I've taken.
I moved to a different town because I completed a college course and then wanted to go to university to finish my same degree. And when I got to the university town, I kind of didn't have any friends. It's this town where I also grew up and went to high school, but like, I'd moved away for college and then came back. And it was like, okay, I know a couple people, but we've all drifted apart. And so I was just looking for a hobby. So I did take a break from Magic it was like 4 or 5 years, and then found drafting a Yellow Jacket, and the rest is history.
Sweet. Well, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
From Fluffy776, what pet card would you like to see get a boost in alchemy so it was more playable? Quite a loaded question.
Voldaren Pariah.
Is Voldaren Pariah that bad?
It's just a card that rules and doesn't really get any play.
That's fair. This is, for those keeping score at home, it's 3 black for a 3/3 vampire horror with flying. And it has madness also for black. And you can sacrifice 3 other creatures to transform Voldaren Pariah. And it transforms into Abolisher of Bloodlines, which is a 6/5 flying Eldrazi vampire. And when it transforms into Abolisher of Bloodlines, target opponent sacrifices 3 creatures. So basically both players have to sacrifice 3 creatures.
I have gotten True Name Nemesis with this.
Oh.
I won that game. And if you madness out Voldaren Pariah and transform it, you're probably winning that game of Magic. Those are big if statements, though.
Right. Yeah.
That card's sweet.
Yeah, I don't know. Make it 1 black to madness.
I would like to see Jorn, God of Winter, transform so that you can. It's like on the back side, maybe on the front side, he gets to be a 3/4 or a 4/4 or something. But on the back side, the staff lets you cast the spells more easily. I forget what it's called, but it's like
Cauldring the Rime Staff.
Right, Cauldring the Rime Staff.
1
and
blue,
then it
black,
enters
legendary snow artifact. Tap. You may play target snow permanent from your graveyard. If you do, it enters the battlefield tapped.
Let us have the cards untapped. Just take off the last sentence from Cauldring in Alchemy, so that my Cauldring can like get me back a land or a chump blocker. I found this last clause, like the second sentence on this activate ability, made the card basically too weak for limited. In my experience. Yeah.
Yeah, Yorn was good and limited, but Cauldring was not good. Yeah. What I don't know if I have a pet card. I can't think of anything that I would. Charging Badger. Sorry, Paul has suggested Charging Badger. How do you improve on perfection, though? It's a 1/1 for 1 with trample.
Give it in fact.
Oh. Slobbering Badger.
I'm being put in charge of WotC for a day. I'm going to ruin
Badger
Magic the Gathering.
Now. Aha.
This is why I put myself in charge of lore development, because I can screw up the game, but I can't break Magic forever.
Right. Oh,
I can hop on this and give you a couple more if you want. Oglor and Gutmorn. I think they're both called a couple of new cards from Alchemy. It's funny. It's like they're not exactly my pet cards yet. But I did try building around them, and both of them was sort of like, well, yeah, this could be pushed more.
Gutmorn, Pact-Bound Servant. Legendary 1/3 legendary flying death touch demon. Whenever Gutmorn enters the battlefield, each player discards a non-land card. Okay. Whenever a player discards a card during your turn, they choose another player. that player conjures a duplicate of that card into their hand, it perpetually gains. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast this spell. Huh.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe someone will end up doing something with this, but so far it has not been fantastic. And it's kind of a cool design.
That is a cool design.
But it seems overly balanced.
Yeah. What was the other one you mentioned?
Oglor. Oglor. It's a homunculus.
Oh yeah, Oglor, devoted assistant.
Yeah, it gets you zombies, but you have to work really hard to get them.
One in a blue. Sorry, yeah. At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top 2 cards of your library, then put one of them into your graveyard. Whenever a creature card is put into your graveyard from your library or hand, it perpetually gains. When this card leaves your graveyard, create a tapped 2/2 black zombie creature token. Well, the creature token doesn't have Decayed, so you got that going for you.
Yeah, but for 2 mana, it doesn't quite pack enough of a punch for alchemy so far.
Yeah,
to my mind. Maybe I'm doing it wrong.
That's fair. All right. I have no good answer, so let's just move on. Next from David Pavito says, Pick'em. Over under 2.5 new banned cards in Standard before the end of 2022. I say under.
I mean, I would like it to be under.
I think under is the smart bet here because of alchemy.
Yeah.
Like, do we know anything about organized play? Like, do we know that Standard has a job to do? Like, if the Standard is in trouble and they don't want to ban cards, they'll just push alchemy as the competitive format, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They announced, or rather he announced just the other day, that William Huey Jensen has a job at Wizards now in the position of Director of Play Programs. But we don't know what that means, and we don't think it means organized play. No one's really sure what that actually means. So, like, initially people were like, oh, they're signing Huey to do the new organized play program. And then it's like, wait, that's not what that job description says, or not what the job title says. So, yeah, we still don't know what organized play looks like. I don't even know what Director of Play Programs does. I think that's like Friday Night Magic.
I don't know either, but my small amounts of interactions with William Jensen seems very, very competent and clearly loves Magic a lot. So I'm hopeful that this brings a new era of glory.
Yeah,
Be nice. Yeah, I'm hopeful. I guess.
Yeah, I think they've had an awkward couple of years that they're trying to course correct from. So I'm optimistic, and it'll be under 2.5 cards. Guess we'll see. I guess we have 2 Dominaria sets coming out later this year, one of which is called The Brothers' War. So that could have some powerful stuff in it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Right. Whoops, maybe we should correct our answers to be over. If they ban anything, they have to ban whole cycles of stuff, right?
It might be okay, and the set's just complete dog poop. Right?
Oh, no. Hey, speaking of which, Dear User asks, what are you most hyped for in 2022, and what's the most shrug thing WotC has announced so far?
I'm most shrugging at 2 sets taking place on Dominaria in the same year. It kind of irks me. I'm sure they're both going to be great sets. I mean, I'm not sure, but probably. Like, I have really enjoyed most of the, sets as themselves. The formats have suffered or whatever, but you look at each set and it's like they tend to be banging out limited winners for most of like the past 5 years, and interesting new designs that are exciting for Commander. Like, those are 2 pillars where they tend to keep succeeding. So probably that'll happen all year, but it just kind of bums me out. That's like, well, we don't go to Dominaria very much anymore. In fact, when we went back most recently, it was like a really big deal. Yeah. So now we're going back twice. I don't know. Not hyped about that. Very shrug about that.
Fair enough. I'm like retroactively kind of about double feature.
Yeah.
I'm still going to play it.
It's a 2022 product.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still going to play it, but I'm not as excited about it as I was. I'm sort of like, okay. I have sort of like a base level amount of hype for like basically everything they've announced. Like I'm excited about Kamigawa. I'm excited about Streets of New Capenna. Obviously very excited about Unfinity. That one's very, very high up there. I think the only maybe possible contender for Unfinity would be, actually, is it even coming out this year? Yeah, no, it is. The Adventures in Dungeons and Dragons Commander Legends set. Because Commander Legends was super fun and interesting, and doing a draft and then playing a game of Commander with the deck that you drafted was really cool and interesting.
Oh my god, we might get weekends where we get to degen actual paper Commander drafts like at a convention hall.
Yeah, and so that, but also with D&D, which I very much enjoyed. I liked AFR quite a lot from like the flavor perspective, and this is it is also, it's set in Baldur's Gate. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that.
Actually, that sounds. I was kind of medium on it, and then the description of getting to just like chain drafts.
Yeah.
And then like, yeah, that actually sounds pretty cool. Cool? Is that the word? No. Fun. Yeah.
Fun. We're allowed to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm hyped for Streets of New Capenna.
Actually,
yeah.
The set could be balls, and as long as the art team nails it, I will still spend lots of money on it. And I can't wait to see Magic cosplay on my timeline.
Oh yeah,
and in person, maybe
pinstripes
happen.
So many pinstripes.
I can't wait for the Streets of New Capenna cosplay.
It's gonna be great.
Actually, yeah. Could I just from Boardwalk Empire, the one character who he was a First World War veteran. He's got a mask because he was shot in the face.
Oh, I don't know.
Richard Harrow?
I think so. Yeah. And occasionally he just kills like 70 people in an episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, Richard Harrow. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Next question from Scary Ghost Call. Is anyone on the podcast interested in trying a new format this year?
Is this the year Cameron gets into Legacy? Probably not.
I'm always interested in trying a new format.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think yes. Theoretically, yes. I mean, I suppose in a technical sense, every new limited environment is its own format.
True.
So I could take the complete wiener answer and say I plan to.
I will join you in that wiener answer. I'll adjunct to that I've played like a couple games of Alchemy when they did that rollout thing that had a lot of extra experience associated with it, and it was okay. It felt a little jarring because there was so much that was like, this looks like Magic, but I don't know if it feels like Magic, that kind of thing, just because of the way that a bunch of the cards worked. That said, I could see maybe trying to see what Alchemy has to offer, just to like bring up my constructed rank on Arena. But I don't know. I guess if you ask me what formats of Magic I play now, it's limited, encompassing draft and sealed and commander. And I'll try new things, but that's probably enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoy having my pet commander deck and my pet Highlander deck and my pet gladiator deck. And then I just kind of want to draft.
I could try more gladiator maybe.
It's a good format.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of, there's some big question marks in it right now, but
yeah.
I like Ben Wheeler's description of it being like, it's whatever Arena lets you build. Really.
Fair enough. All right. Moving right along to a question from Monkey Monarchy. How do each of you manage your collections? Storage, sorting, how many copies, what to buy, etc.
Decline to answer.
Manage
Poorly.
My collection.
Poorly. Manage implies that I'm doing anything other than putting it in my... Whenever I somehow bring home more Magic cards, I do anything other than put them on the pile of boxes in my closet, then close the door behind me.
Yeah. I have, so we moved recently. So in the closet back there, I have a lot of I have all of our sealed stuff. Like we have booster packs from all kinds of different sets and like commander things and whatnot. And that all lives in there. So that's like reasonably organized. All the loose cards, I don't know. It's a crap show.
My Magic collection has not recovered from me having kids.
Mm.
Like it was in a pretty decent place in like 2014.
Mm-hmm.
I had some stuff I'm maybe trying to get rid of. It's for trade in some boxes, but it's over there. It's separate. And then I had like the Highlander, cube situation where I can like make a new deck twice a week or whatever out of all of the staples and stuff that I like to play.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have a bunch of drawers in my house, and when I open them up, there might be a Black Lotus, or there might be like a big clump of plasticine that's dried in different textures and mixed with Play-Doh and slime. And maybe they're together. Who knows?
I've been trying to organize it into more, and by organize I mean like get rid of a lot of it, like get rid of a lot of draft shash. And so basically when I went through everything before we moved, I organized things into like 3 different piles. One pile of like, this is trash and it needs to be removed from the house in some way. Ideally not like thrown away, but hopefully like just taken to like Yellow Jacket and be like, I don't even need anything for these. Please just take them away. The second pile is like stuff I can actually sell. And I've put in a couple like Card Kingdom sell orders and stuff, and I have more that I should do. And then the third pile is like Commander Tinker Tools, right? Like things that I'm not playing now and that I don't even know that I have a home for, but things that are like, this feels like it could be useful in a Commander deck someday, so I will hold on to it for now. And ideally, remember that box exists before I have to actually build a deck and then just order the entire thing from Card Kingdom. And then go, I had that.
Marie Kondo wants you to take your Tinker Tools and put them all in your sell order.
You're probably right.
Like
maybe I'll do that.
I would like to take my 3-foot stall 3-foot stall tack. Good, Cameron. 3-foot tall stack of 4-column long boxes. Get rid of them and replace them with a 1,000 count box. Like just a single long count box of like, one of Is It Charm, one of Preordain, right? Toolkit. Mm-hmm. The get my Highlander playset of important cards. Because like there is that curated spreadsheet, right? Someone in the Highlander community put together of like, these are the cards that people actually play. There's like 500 cards that get played in Highlander.
It's probably more than that, but yeah. There's definitely a small number of cards that I own that actually end up in the decks. And there's like a number of cards that's twice as big as that start off on the table when I'm trying to build a deck.
All right. I think when in doubt, we need to just ask Ben Wheeler to come over and do things to our collections. Yamahako says, pretend you were put in charge of recreating the MPL. How would you reimagine it? The MPL was such an interesting idea. I thought, anyway.
There's one piece of... Yeah, no, that's no problem. They did a lot of things right. I liked the photo shoots. They tried to build the personalities. People were looking forward to that. Sorry, it's chaos behind me. Real quick though, there's one piece of the puzzle that we figured out by the end of it was wrong, and everybody acknowledged it. You can't have everyone streaming at the same time. You have to have more focused streams instead of just an individual view of Reed's house and Huey's house and Jess Estefan's house. It's like they should be a bit more managed when they're producing the content from the MPL, because the content of the MPL matches wasn't always easy to digest and consume. Yeah.
They had their weekly show with like, gosh, who was hosting it? Like the thing is, like the show was, I only watched it like once because like I was surprised to learn that it existed. It was one of those things where it's like it felt. I'm sure the people who were working on it felt like they had satisfied everything properly, but like to me, it felt like it was like, whoa, wait, what's going on? Is this thing here? It's like it was just such a surprise and like weirdly scheduled and everything. But it was like Marshall and Cedric and Becca Scott, I think, were hosting doing like a news desk thing, like a weekly show. Like, here's updates on what's happened in the MPL this week, and you got like little highlights of games, but like it was meant to be, like it was a weekly sports show, right? Where it's like, here's what's happened in the league this week. But I don't know. It felt off, and I don't really know how to explain it. But yeah, so reimagining the MPL.
Spark split, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, well, they were. That was also confusing. Talking about all the different different flights and splits and how all that stuff would work. No, but they had like a news show where they'd like fill everyone in and be like, okay, so here's how all the matches broke down this week.
That sounds fantastic. I'm sad that I never watched that. I'm just learning about it for the first time right now.
Right? Exactly. That was also sort of part of the problem. Yeah, I think that the tournament structure was very confusing, which was a big issue with it, right? Like you mentioned, they had people divided into the different splits, and I still don't actually understand. Hang on, I'm gonna look it up. How it all sort of worked. I don't know what if you were redoing it. What would you want to see, Nelson?
Yeah, so like just that thing we mentioned before about like the content being more accessible, and the show you're talking about does sound great. The other thing I think that like it's important to sort of try to make sense of is just that like when I came in, and I think I share this feeling with a lot of grinders, when I started playing Magic competitively, it was because the dream of being at the very top stage of the Pro Tour was clear. Like what you're talking about, the tournament structure is like, okay, if you win a PTQ, then you get a flight and you get to go to another tournament. And then if you just keep winning your matches, then suddenly they're like handing you thousands of dollars, and they're, you putting your name in lights. And so like, that's that sort of like easily identifiable dream for the players at like the lower level. And so if you don't have that, you really need to make the show like very easy to digest, and like you need to make it attractive still to watch.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe we should have a time where we go back to those roots of just like there are PPTQs or there are IPTQs, or there's some clear path to like the big show with the big prizes, and lots of people are going to get into it. Because we had a thing happening where the last days of the Pro Tour, the number of people in the Pro Tour started to get close to and exceed 500, I think, and that's the point at which OP went like, okay, well now the Pro Tours are getting too big. It's too much for us to pay for all these flights, or it's too much for us to put these big venues or whatever it is. So we're going to try and shrink the Pro Tour back down. But, now we've gone to a point where we've shrunk it down to nothing. So I don't have a really good answer. Sorry.
I mean, I guess you just need to ask, like, what is the end goal? Right? Are we producing a show for viewers? Are we facilitating a career for players? Because those don't necessarily like always play nicely together.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I think you can produce a show for viewers that pays its competitors well, but it might.
I think that should be the goal.
It might be inconvenient for the players, but if they're getting paid, hey,
Yeah, once you were in the MPL, you were in for the whole year, right? You couldn't fall out every season, but maybe it needs to have an even wider context. Like, pro sports athletes get contracts that they sometimes get out of, but they can be like 5 or 10 years, right? Depending on which sport you're playing. So
yeah. And we talk about this all the time when we're planning stuff for like Friday Night Paper Fight, right? Where it's like, well, this might be a better play experience, but it will be a better viewership experience if we do it this way. And we're making a show for entertainment, so we'll do it, we'll do it this way. And I think that the MPL as they launched it didn't actually satisfy either of those things. But I think that that's definitely the route that I would take it. That's a great point, Cam, is that I'd be like, all right, we're making a show, and the show is to make playing tournament Magic seem awesome. So we're going to put on a great show, and then we pay these pro players to be on the show, and that's how, then they get paid for that. They, maybe that they also, like, there's also prize money, right? That they could also win more if they do well, but like it's we're not sort of worried too much about we're concerned more with making sure that it's an entertaining viewership experience than we are with sort of ensure. I mean, I don't want to make it sound like we're going to sacrifice tournament integrity, because that's not what we would want to do. But I mean, focus on producing good television first.
Yeah, like, I don't know, turn it into Takeshi's Castle. I don't know, do something. Right? Like, congratulations, you've won the semifinals. That means you get to go into the obstacle course. I have no idea, but it'd be something.
I mentioned, like, you know, if I was in charge at Wizards or whatever, hiring someone from Riot Games earlier, and I was like, I don't think they do it with sponsorships, but that I'm remembering now, the teams have sponsors, so it's like maybe reaching out and having, like, you know, team houses with big sponsors could help too. I thought
that's what was going to happen for the MPL. You know, like I don't know if like, because Wizards was like, we're doing the MPL. These are the people in the MPL, and like, what I thought would happen would be like, you know, you get like Team Channel Fireball or something, but that you get like, you know, you get like esports teams that, you know, like Cloud9 or whatever fields like one or two people. It's like, this is so-and-so competing in the MPL on this esports team sponsored by Monster Energy drink or whatever, right? Or like even just Red Bull is like, you know, this player in the MPL sponsored by Red Bull. And I don't know if that never happened because it like legally couldn't, because it's like, no, the way the MPL works is that everyone's actually getting paid by Wizards and that's it. Or if the potential sponsors were all like, just assumed that it was like, oh, well, Wizards is paying for all the because they were paying the MPL players. Oh, Wizards is paying it, so we don't need to do that. But like allowing outside sponsorships, encouraging outside sponsorships would be the way to do that, right? And I don't know if that didn't happen. I don't know for what reason that didn't happen, but I was like, oh, so then this will happen, and it didn't, and I don't know why, but I feel like it should have. I think that was a very convoluted sentence.
But like, I don't know. Pick an end goal. Keep it in mind, because, you know, if you don't know that the goal of the game is to mate the king, you're just kind of moving pieces around on the board, right? Like, just pick a desired outcome and build towards it.
I want to say too that, like, realizing what you're going through, Graham, it's hard to answer the question because we don't actually know the answers to all of the questions of why the MPL sort of failed.
We don't know what went wrong, so presumably everyone entered into it in good faith.
Yeah, and I think that
fair presumption.
I think that that's honestly something that people tend to not give Wizards the benefit of the doubt on, is that they assume that everything was entered into with hubris and callousness and greed. And it's like, no, I actually think, I truly believe that they went into this believing that they were going to do what was the best thing, and that they ended up not doing that.
You absolute shill. How dare you propose that the people who spend their lives making this game and trying to help people enjoy it are trying to do that thing?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm horrible. Next question from Captain Ender. What was one piece of MTG artwork that you really enjoyed from this past year? Now, I knew that this question was coming up because I'd read ahead, and I still had a lot of trouble because there's so much. Here's the thing. There's so much good Magic artwork, and in a variety of styles too. Like there's so many things, like you've got like the almost photorealistic end of like the borderless planeswalkers that they've decided to go with, and then you've got the stuff that you actually find in packs. You've got all the showcase variants and stuff. I do have an answer. I mean, I think that superlatives are challenging. Just like this is my favorite, but you know, I do have an answer for like one that I'm comfortable saying is my favorite, but I do want to give a quick honorable mention. And if I gave honorable mentions to everything, I'd be here we did it'd be an entire episode. But sagas in general, bang. But I wanted to particularly shout out the Blood Sky Massacre for just being a very interesting take on one of the sagas, because this is the one that's the tattoo sleeve.
Yes, yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's a really cool idea. Like the one that's like, there's ones that were actually created. There's one that's made of wood. There's one that looks like it's been, like sewn or whatever. But I just thought that this was really interesting.
Yeah, agreed. I think the sagas are like, I was thinking about this and I wanted to just talk about like classifications of art.
Yeah.
Right? Like the sagas are outstanding. I love them. I really like the sketches. As a showcase frame from Modern Horizons.
Modern Horizons.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great idea. I really like the black and white art from Crimson Vow and Midnight Hunt. Like the full art lands. I thought like those were cool.
The really like metal inspired showcase ones from Kaldheim. Right? Like Vorinclex, where he's just like ripping something apart. Right, looks like it's from an album cover or a poster or something. All of that taken into account, I think that the one I'm sort of like planting my flag on is the Japanese Mystical Archive Opt.
That is a nice picture. I think I paid money for that on Arena.
Yeah, it's very clean. I've got one too. Wow, the Mystical Archives. Grape Shot was great. The Japanese Grape Shot was amazing.
I love the Japanese Mystical Archives brainstorm. It's the cat going, like grabbing its temples and being like really annoyed by the brainstorm.
I think it's because brainstorm and memory lapse are mixed up. Oh, maybe they're not in the Japanese arts.
No,
but there's some weird thing that happened there. Right?
Yeah, there was two different ones.
The Opt? Is it Opt that's the top tier for me there? I think it might be.
Like I really liked all the really in the English language or the non-Japanese, I guess, Mystical Archives ones. I really liked the really like really graphic ones, like Negate, right? The ones by like Dominic Mayer and a couple other folks. Like the really like colorful, angular ones. The ones involved a lot of circles, right? Natural Order. Right, with like the huge beast in the background, and then the little wizard in the foreground, and just like the cool clouds or sun or whatever. Just like all the Mystical Archive ones were just like such an interesting, well, with one asterisk, obviously, but were such an interesting examination of like what you can do when you take the reins off, right? So
I went out of my way and bought a secret layer. It was called Our Show Is on Friday. Can you make it? Or can you come or something? And that I don't know if it was released in 2020 or 2021, but I got it in 2021. Like it arrived at my house in 2021. So
that was the call.
I'm counting it. No, posters? That was just it was posters, but it was just meant to be like music posters, and it was in a few different styles. There was like a Art Nouveau kind of looking Wrath of God, and there's a preordained and a natural order, or sorry, the one that goes against a forest. Not Rampant Growth. It was in Play Untapped. Anyways, no, it's not. Sorry, it's one in a green, and it just gets a forest and puts in Play Untapped. And I'm old and can't remember what it's called now, but it's very pretty. And yeah, I liked these a lot. Although I totally agree that there was just tons of home runs for Art and Magic this year.
Agreed.
Yeah. And your Nature's Lore is the one you're thinking of.
Thank you.
Yeah, with the owl. Yeah, right. These are all the like the psychedelic posters rather than the metal posters. Yeah. I remember these now. Oh, right. I actually had, speaking of Secret Lair and Mystical Archive, I had the Secret Lair All Is Dust as my phone background for a little while with Emrakul. Just looking really neat. They did this Secret Lair has got some very cool stuff on it. I should get that Fracturing Gust for my commander deck. Anyway, I think that's it for the questions that James set aside. So thanks everybody for sending those in. Really appreciate it. Looking forward, generally speaking, to 2022, and hopefully you are as well. Any final thoughts from anybody?
It's going to be a great year.
Yeah, everything's going to be great.
Yeah, irrespective of magic, 2022, it's going to be good. And I say that because my plan is, and I shamelessly picked this up from Kathleen, 2022 is going to be a better year than 2021 because we're going to effing make it be that way.
Yep. I'm going to grab 2022 by the lips and shake for all that it's worth.
You don't screw this up for us, 2022.
Yep.
Look at me. Look at me. Don't make me look stupid.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's
stand and fight.
Yeah.
The motto for 2022.
Yeah.
Hold fast.
Well, that's going to do it then for this episode of Tap Tap Concede. Thanks everybody for your questions. Thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for checking out Card Kingdom at cardkingdom.com/LRR. Thanks to Card Kingdom for continuing to work with us because we think they're great. Thanks to all of you who support us on Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. And even if you can't or won't do that or don't wish to, that's totally cool. We just appreciate you being here and listening and telling your friends and being part of the community. It means a lot. So thanks. I have been Graham, joined by Cameron and Nelson.
I was here too.
Paul has been running tech today, and Heather gets these episodes online. Thank you all for listening or watching, and we will talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.